Hello everyone. Welcome back to another video. I am sitting here with a massive pile of books. You can't see them all because the pile is so incredibly heavy that it almost made this table collapse. This table is like one of those that pulls up and they are incredibly heavy. So this is a little sketchy, but we're going to go through all the books that I'm really excited to read this year. We're going to talk about books that I already have, plus a lot of sequels and new releases that are coming out this year. So get out your calendar, get out a piece of paper or something where you can write down books that you are excited to read. I will try and put all of the dates for these books, or if they're already out, I'll tell you that they're already out, like this one right here in front of me. The Dagger and the Flame is already out. And it's not necessarily like coming out in 2025, but it's just something that I am excited to read. It's on my 2025 TBR. So we're going to talk about that. And we also have so many sequels coming out this year. So let's go ahead and dive into it. And I would also love to hear in the comments if I don't mention something that you are excited to read in 2025. Make sure you leave it in the comments because I'm sure there are so many that watching this back, I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot that one or something like that. So you can check the comments for other people's thoughts on what they are excited to read for all the different genres as well. And by the way, if you guys are new here, my name is Summer. I talk about books, I talk about e-readers. This is my Kindle colorsoft. And if that sounds good to you, then please make sure you subscribe and stick around for more. So this one wasn't initially on my list that I was going to talk about. I wrote out a big list and I've actually been thinking about filming this video for a while now, but I'm suffering from a bit of perfectionist syndrome with this video and the Nespresso video that's coming up. I just feel like I keep thinking of things I need to add. And today I just decided that it's never going to be absolutely perfect, but I can always add to it later. So this is my list for now. So this one I actually happened to pick up today because it was $7.99 with some Kindle points that were going to expire. If you guys don't have a Kindle, there are Kindle rewards where when you reach a certain number of points, I think it was like 300 points or so, they give you $3 off. And then it was also double Kindle points day. So with the money that I spent on this book, the $7.99, I got I think double or triple the points that I would normally get. So this one's been something I've had my eye on, and the library copy is just so far out as far as loans. So I picked this one up. It's about kind of rival assassins, it sounds like, that have to work together. So I'm really excited to read this one. It sounds like it's mostly a fantasy, and I think there's a sequel coming out. So I have absolutely been killing it at the NetGalley game lately, and I have so many books to read. So a lot of these I'm probably going to include in my monthly wrap-ups and my reading vlogs, so make sure you stay tuned for those. But one that I'm really excited to read is A Theory of Dreaming, which is a Study in Drowning's sequel. So I have that one. I really want to read Variation by Rebecca Yarros. I really love her writing, and as you can see, I've got Iron Flame right here because Onyx Storm comes out really soon, and so that's on my sequels list. How to Survive a Horror Story sounds really, really good. As does, let's see what else we've got. Silver Elite sounds really different. And then one that I am really excited to tell you all about is called Heart of the Sun by Mia Sheridan. The cover isn't on there because it's an ARC, but you can kind of see that I have an incredible amount of ARCs that I need to read, as well as ones that I've purchased that I've just never finished. And there are a couple that I've requested on NetGalley that I'm really, really, really hoping to get. One of them is Summer in the City by Aster. And obviously my name is Summer, so that one would be really fun to read, but she's also the author of Lightlark, which I have right here. And Lightlark actually has so many books that are coming out. So we have Lightlark, we have Nightbane, which is the second one. Skyshade just came out in 2024, a couple of months ago, and then there are going to be 2 books in this series coming out this next year. So I'm really excited to see what happens with that. And then Alex also has one called Summer in the City that is, I think, a romance, rom-com perhaps, that I'm really excited to see if I get. Also, speaking of Freida McFadden, Freida has one called The Crash coming out, and then there's also another one that I don't remember what it was called, but I remember seeing it on her Goodreads. So that's another tip, is to make sure you're following all your favorite authors on Goodreads and Amazon. And if you're not friends with me on Goodreads, I will link my profile below so we can be friends and you can see what I'm reading in real time. but I always love to get those emails that tell me that those things are on the way. I just read this one by Rebecca Robinson not too long ago. It's called The Serpent and the Wolf. This one reminded me of Game of Thrones mixed with Vikings or something like that. It was really, really, really good. And I do believe there is a sequel coming out later this year. A book that I just happened to have, but I didn't have time to read in 2024, but I purchased it because I wanted this. Is called Immortal Dark. And this really got me. The sprayed edges normally get me, but this was just so beautiful. Give this video a thumbs up if you agree, because I just felt like I couldn't pass this up. So it goes all the way around, actually. I'll show you. And this one just looks so good. I feel like this one is especially good for maybe people who loved Nosferatu. I still need to see it, but this one is about vampires. Speaking of magic and kind of like vampire / witch hunters, Heartless Hunter, also known as the Crimson Moth in some places, has a sequel called Rebel Witch that is coming out in February. And I have been trying to get my hands on an arc of this, or a galley copy, because I loved this one last year. It kind of gives like Bridgerton, but with magic. For some reason, it kind of made me think of Pirates of the Caribbean a little bit, even though it wasn't really meant to be that. That's just kind of like the era it felt like it was set in. So this one was really, really good, and I can't wait for that sequel to come out in February. The next sequel on my list is the sequel to Iron Flame called Onyx Storm. It is actually coming out just, I think, a few days after I'm filming this, on the 21st of January. So that one I'm really excited about. This one I managed to get early, and I don't know, I'm gonna manifest that I somehow get Onyx Storm early. My Amazon order is a bit delayed. I think it's supposed to arrive on the 24th. So I'm just gonna manifest, put it out there somewhere in the world that I will get Onyx Storm early somehow, so I can get reading on it, because I love the series. If you are someone who doesn't normally read fantasy, so like a lot of these suggestions are fantasy, and you might be like, I don't know how much I like fantasy. This is kind of fantasy for people who aren't total fantasy readers, if that makes sense. Let me know if you agree in the comments if you've read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. Fourth Wing is indirectly responsible for this channel existing, because I read Fourth Wing and then it reignited my passion for reading. That was right when it came out, and then I got a new Kindle, I unboxed it on this channel, and the rest is really history. If you go back and look at all of my videos, you can see how that progressed from there. So thank you to Fourth Wing for kind of making this channel what it is today. Another book that I've gotten that I haven't even taken the sticker off, but I got it because of the sprayed edges and because people on TikTok were convincing me. Shout out to Kai Reads. Kai is always convincing me to read all these different romantasy and fantasy books, and I don't know what's going to happen to TikTok, so we'll see what happens. But I think she also has a YouTube channel, and I'll check out her Instagram, but she has like the best recommendations ever. So this is one of the ones that she recommended. Side note, I feel like I'm losing my voice, so I'm really sorry if it sounds a little crackly throughout this video, but hopefully I'm not getting sick or anything. But this one, called The Games Gods Play, is about the gods kind of playing this game, and they each have a human representative. People said it was like the Hunger Games mixed with Percy Jackson for adults. I really need to take that sticker off, but those sprayed edges really got me. And then I think there is actually a sequel to this one coming out this year, so I need to get on this one. This one I know off the top of my head. Powerless has a sequel called Reckless, which has a sequel to that one called Fearless, which comes out April 1st. And so this one was like a bit controversial, that people had a lot of strong feelings on this one, and I really liked this one and Reckless. I think I even liked Reckless a bit more. You can see I have entire vlogs dedicated to this, so I'll link those down below. I'm gonna link all of these books down below, by the way, so you can buy them easily if you want to get those Kindle points for those bonus days, or just get the physical copies. So this one is, I don't know, I remember reading this one and feeling like I was really enjoying it, and people just, I don't know, I have a love-hate relationship with the book community on booktube and booktok and bookstagram. Obviously I love you guys, but sometimes I feel like people get really negative about books, and as I always say, I think that it's totally fine to have a strong opinion about things, but I just personally don't talk about books that I don't like. I just kind of feel like they might not be for me, but they might be for somebody else. So I just let them be for somebody else, and I don't really talk about them too much. But I'm excited for Fearless. A couple of books that have been sitting on my shelf for way too long that I haven't read that are fantasy books are The Veiled Kingdom and When the Moon Hatched. This one, I'm so sad, is not going to match the newly printed copies because this was the indie printed version. And so it's not going to match the new copies when I have them on my shelf. But I've started this one and I've started the audiobook several times and I just haven't finished it. Like I haven't been able to be in the headspace to read it. And I will say, I've heard such mixed things. Like people either love this book or it's not for them. So I don't know. I will see when I feel less intimidated, but it does say the Moonfall series 1. So I know that there's another one. I think it's like the Ballad of something is coming out. So I want to get this one read so that I can decide if I want to read the sequel. The next one is The Veiled Kingdom. This one also had a sequel that people weren't entirely sure about, but this one has just such a gorgeous cover, and this one kind of reminds me a bit of Powerless, so I really want to read this one as well before the next, I think the third one comes out this year. This one I do believe is a finished series, and this one, it just sounds so intriguing. It's where this girl kind of befriends death, and he is a character in the book. And I think there are 3 books in this series by Adeline Grace. So if you're looking for a finished fantasy series, maybe check this one out. And I'm going to read this one pretty soon in the vlogs as well. So stay tuned for that. These are a couple other books that I got recently in a book exchange. And these have been books that I've heard so much about, but I haven't had a chance to read either. But I do think both of these are finished series as well. Let me know in the comments if you have read either one of these, and just looking forward to having the physical copies because I do so much reading on my Kindle that it's kind of fun to just have the physical copies sometimes. A thriller that I'm looking forward to reading is The Perfect Divorce by Geneva Rose. I keep searching for that one as well, like every day on NetGalley. And another one that I search for pretty much every day on NetGalley is the sequel to Phantasma called Enchantra by Callie Smith. This one really took me by surprise, and I loved this so much. It was about this house where you had to enter, and it kind of like Dark Caraval, where they had to enter. She was trying to save her sister, and you can't leave the game unless you win or you lose and you sacrifice a lot. I don't want to spoil anything. Quicksilver. This is probably, these two were really my most surprising reads of 2024. If you want to see my whole 2024 wrap up, I will link that down below so you can catch up if you want. But these two really surprised me, especially Quicksilver. I am so lucky to have this copy of it as well because this was the indie printed copy before all the covers switched to this one. So I am really excited to get the second one. I think it comes out this fall, and that's all that we know so far, is that it will be coming out this fall. So that one by Callie Hart was really, really, really good. I feel like I'm going to need to do a reread because the ending for me is really what made this one a 6-star book. And so I'm trying to just maybe reread it because I feel like there was just a lot of world building. It took me forever to read. This one I flew through. This one I listened to the audiobook of, and it was really, really good. This one this audiobook is crazy actually though. This one was like, I was kind of going really slow until I got the audiobook, and the dramatic reading of this one is incredible. So definitely if you're looking for some new audiobooks, if you have some Audible credits, these two are really good. Just a few more that I'm looking forward to reading that I already have on my Kindle. The Half King, I keep seeing this one everywhere. It's on Kindle Unlimited, but it's so beautiful. I can't find any with the sprayed edges anymore though, so I'm just going with the Kindle version. Beautiful Villain by Rebecca Kenny. I've heard some mixed reviews, but this one's kind of a Great Gatsby retelling, which I love. The Safari, I am kind of in the middle of that one. It says 0%, but I'm reading it on a different device. And then The Rose Bargain sounds really, really good too. So I have a bunch of books that I need to make sure I read. Oh, The Amalfi Curse doesn't have a cover. That one's also on my list. And I think that is it as far as books that I really, really, really need to read in 2025. Just looking through this one more time to see if there's anything that sparks my memory. but I do have a couple like Bloodguard. I've got a couple of those arcs that I need to read. I have a couple of Amazon first reads that I'm excited about. And honestly, there are just so many books, so little time. I've heard so many good things, by the way, about Silver Elite. Oh, you know what I do have? A Tribute of Fire by Soraya Wilson. Does have a sequel coming out. I think it's A Vow of Embers. The cover is also really pretty. This one's kind of a blue. It's hard to see. It's a really dark blue. And then the Vow of Embers book is kind of like a red, and it looks a lot like this. So I think this one's on Kindle Unlimited, and I highly recommend this one if you're into like Greek mythology and fantasy. And then sometimes I just search my favorite authors. For example, here's Freida McFadden. I just go into the Kindle store and see what they have listed. You can see that they have The Crash, which obviously I think is about a crash. That one's coming out when? Let's see. January 28th. Okay, that's actually coming out way earlier than I thought. And it's going to be on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm not going to pre-order it. Then there's also this one called The Tenant, which I think is coming out soon. Yeah, May 6th, so we've still got that one coming out as well. I just love Freida. Oh, here's The Perfect Divorce. This is the one that I was talking about. That's the sequel to The Perfect Marriage by Geneva Rose. I love Geneva Rose's writing, and The Perfect Marriage freaked me out. The ending of it really freaked me out, but I am going to see how this one goes. I might pre-order it because it doesn't look like it's going to be on Kindle Unlimited, but it might be at some point. Let's see if The Perfect Marriage is on Kindle Unlimited. Usually if they put one of the series, they'll put the next one, but this one, it doesn't look like they will yet. So we'll see about that one. But then what's fun about the Kindle store is then you can kind of just scroll through and see what items are related to those books and see if there's anything new coming out. So sometimes I just like to scroll through the Kindle store on my Kindle and see what they've got. Because I know of a lot of fantasy sequels and things like that, but I don't know of a ton of thrillers that are coming out. So if you guys have any thriller recommendations or romance recommendations, please let me know. Ooh, this one called Parents Weekend. I've seen so many good things about this one. This one comes out on May 6th. So let me know about other genres because I feel like I'm just the most up to date on fantasy right now since I've started so many of these series that now I feel like I need to finish all of them. So I need to also work on my book calendar in my book journal for 2025. And that's another thing that I've had perfectionist syndrome on, where I haven't done a whole video on how I'm going to track all of my books for 2025. I've been using Goodreads and Fable, so I'll link those below, like I said, in case you want to befriend me on there. But I really like the idea of having a physical tracker. So I need to look at some spreads, but again, I just feel like I'm feeling like too much of a perfectionist. Let me know if you can relate to that, where I just feel like I want it to be a certain way, but I think what I need to do is just start. Kind of like with this channel, I just need to like start doing it and not let the perfection get to me. So that will be a video that's coming up soon. And I also need to do a recent reads wrap up because I've read a bunch of books and I've kind of talked about them in different vlogs and everything like that. But I got caught up in Vlogmas and all these other videos and things at the end of the year that I feel like I really never talked about my December reads. So I need to do that. So if you guys are interested in that, make sure you are subscribed. And I'm going to talk about all of these books in future reading vlogs and reading wrap-ups. So again, please make sure that you come back for more. I know this one was just kind of a bit of a ramble, but I really wanted to tell you about all these books that are coming out so you can kind of mark them on your calendars or pre-order them if you are excited to maybe read the sequel or read the first ones in the series. And then also I wanted to hear from you guys what you are most excited to read in 2025 before we got too far into the year. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for supporting my channel. I can't wait to chat with you about this, and I will see you very soon in the next video. Bye.